Today, I'm going to talk about an American sci-fi movie called Knowing. Be ready for spoilers. A long time ago, in 1959, there was a quiet little girl named Lucinda. She was different from other kids. She liked being alone. During recess, while everyone else played and laughed, Lucinda would stand quietly by herself, listening to whispers only she could hear. One day, as playtime was ending, their teacher, Miss Taylor, rang the bell to bring the children back. She had to call Lucinda's name a few times to get her attention because Lucinda was lost in her thoughts. Back in the classroom, Miss Taylor shared some exciting news. She announced that the next day would be very special. It was the school's big opening party. To celebrate, there would be a fun contest where all the students were to draw what they thought the future would look like. The kids were thrilled, talking about spaceships and robots. But Lucinda was different. Guided by the mysterious whispers, she started writing a bunch of numbers on her paper, very focused. Time passed quickly, and before Lucinda could finish, Miss Taylor collected all the drawings. They were to be put in a time capsule and buried the next day, to be opened after 50 years. The next day, as the time capsule was buried, the principal proudly announced the event. But he didn't know the real adventure was just starting. As the capsule was put in the ground, Miss Taylor noticed Lucinda was missing. The teachers looked everywhere for her. Finally, Miss Taylor, hearing a soft noise, opened a door leading to a dark staircase. In a hidden room, she found Lucinda, scared, with blood on her hands from writing more numbers on the door with her fingers. Lucinda looked up, her eyes full of fear, and begged, "Please, make the whispers stop." 50 years later, the story took another turn. A man named John, an astrophysicist, was dealing with deep sadness after losing his wife. John was dealing with a very tough question. Is there a reason to keep going after you've lost the love of your life? Sadly, John's wife had died in a fire, leaving him and their son, Caleb, to work through their deep sadness. One sunny morning, something new happens at Caleb's school. It's an important day, the reveal of a time capsule buried 50 years ago. The school principal, wanting to link the past and present, asks Miss Taylor, a teacher from long ago, to lead the event. As they open the capsule, everyone is excited. Each student gets an envelope, a message from the past. Caleb, John's son, finds something strange in his. Instead of a picture, it's filled with numbers. While holding the paper, he hears whispers and sees a shadowy figure near the schoolyard, but it quickly disappears. Later, at home, Caleb wants to go to a sleepover at a friend's house and asks his dad. While they talk, John notices the strange paper from school. He asks Caleb about it since students weren't supposed to bring the envelopes home. After Caleb goes to bed, John looks at the paper again. By accident, he puts his whiskey glass on it, and it highlights some numbers with a ring. Curious, John writes these numbers on a whiteboard. He's shocked to find they match the date of a horrible September 11th, 2001, when the Twin Towers in New York were destroyed, killing 2,996. Thinking it's just a coincidence, John checks more numbers from the paper. Each one matches the dates of terrible events. Explosions, plane crashes, earthquakes, hurricanes, big disasters since 1959, all listed in precise order, each with a number of lives lost. He's looking at a strange paper covered in dates and numbers, circling the dates of disasters in red and the number of people who died in blue. But some numbers make no sense. They're left unmarked and mysterious. Wanting answers, John talks with his colleague, Phil, the next day. He tells Phil that the numbers line up with big disasters, including the date his wife died. But what really worries him are the predictions for the future. The paper says 81 people will die tomorrow. Phil thinks it's just a coincidence, or maybe a mean joke, pointing to the unmarked numbers as proof that it's all random. Still not convinced, John goes to see Miss Taylor, the teacher from 1959, when the paper was put in the time capsule. She confirms the paper is real and remembers Lucinda, the little girl who wrote those numbers, and how she scribbled more numbers on a door after the capsule was buried. But any hope of meeting Lucinda ends when John finds out she died years ago from a drug overdose. Back at home, while John is on the phone trying to learn more about Lucinda, a strange thing happens outside. A car stops, and two men give his son, Caleb, a rock, without saying anything. Worried, John reminds Caleb to be careful around strangers and quickly brings him inside. At that moment, John's sister, Grace, visits unexpectedly, pushing John to talk to their father, whom he hasn't seen in a long time. But John is hesitant, upset by the distance between them. His parents are very religious, while John is not. The next morning, John is stuck in traffic on his way to pick up Caleb from school. On this day, traffic stops completely and there's no way around it. Annoyed, John checks his GPS and suddenly realizes something. Those mysterious uncircled numbers from the paper, they're not just random, they're coordinates, showing where bad things will happen next. And shockingly, he's right at one of those places. Curious and a little worried, John gets out of his car to see what's causing the traffic jam. He talks to the police just as something terrible happens. An airplane crashes right there, causing a huge fire and taking lives. John, shocked, tries to help the victims. Later, still shaken by what he saw, he goes home and finds out online 81 people died in the crash. That night, something even stranger happens when a mysterious man enters Caleb's room. The man shows Caleb a scary vision of destruction, making him scream in fear. John runs to help his son, sees the stranger through the window and runs outside, but the man disappears into the dark. The next day, still troubled by everything, John and Caleb follow a woman and her young daughter to a museum. There, John finds out the woman is Diana, the daughter of Lucinda, the girl who wrote the numbers. He tells her he urgently needs to understand more about her mother and the predictions. Diana, upset by the mention of her mother, says she can't help and quickly leaves with her daughter, Abby. Back at home, the news is full of reports about possible terrorist attacks. Driven by a need to stop more bad things from happening, John uses the GPS coordinates to find where the next disaster might occur. John focuses on the next place the strange numbers point to, a busy subway station. Thinking he might stop a disaster, he rushes to the station and notices a man acting oddly. Believing he's chasing a terrorist, John follows the man onto a train, with the police right behind him. But it turns out the man is just a petty CD thief, not a terrorist. However, just as they clear up this mistake, a real threat appears. A train goes off the tracks and speeds toward them. Panic breaks out as everyone tries to get away, but sadly, the train crashes, causing many deaths and proving the grim prediction right again. After everything calms down, survivors, including John, get out of the wreckage. Rescue teams come quickly, helping and comforting those hurt. Returning home from this scary event, John is surprised to see Diana and her daughter Abby at his house. Diana, now more willing to talk, shares a scary fact. The last disaster on the list is supposed to happen on October 19th, the same day Lucinda, her mother, had said would be her day of death. With a new sense of urgency, Diana takes John to Lucinda's old house, a place she used to hide from the world. They walk through the spooky, empty house, looking for any clue. While checking Lucinda's bedroom, they discover something shocking. The mysterious EE from the list isn't about numbers or dates, but means everyone, suggesting a danger to all. Meanwhile, back in the car, Caleb and Abby face their own scary moment. The whispers that bothered Caleb before are back, now with shadowy figures that both kids can see. These whispers seem to call them, pulling them towards something they can't see. When young Abby almost gets taken by mysterious strangers, luckily, Caleb, quick to react and sharp, uses the car horn to get attention. John and Diana rush to help the children, but the strangers have already disappeared into the night. Amid the confusion, John sees one of them and chases him, catching up quickly. He demands answers, but all he gets is a shocking sight. A bright light bursts from the man's mouth before he vanishes completely. Back at home, they all feel the seriousness of their situation. The next disaster that Lucinda predicted, which suggests the end of everyone, hangs heavily over them, making them think this night might be their last together. The next morning, John sees a drawing by Abby that changes his thinking. The final disaster might be related to the sun. Inspired by this new idea, John links it to his own studies on massive solar flares, which could destroy the solar system. He rushes to the observatory to check the latest data on the sun. The information is worrying, showing unusual solar activity, which could mean a huge solar flare is coming. With no time to lose, John plans for them to hide in an underground cave, a place Diana used to go to when she was a child. As they get ready to leave, John finds Caleb at his desk, eerily writing a list similar to Lucinda. This confirms John's thoughts about the importance of Lucinda's writing. They hurry back to the school to get the door Lucinda had marked with her numbers 50 years ago. In a desperate search for a safe place, Diana gets impatient. Thinking they don't have time to figure out more clues, she takes the children and heads to the caves. Meanwhile, John figures out the numbers from the door, believing these coordinates are their best shot at staying safe. As John steps outside, ready to catch up, He realizes they've already left. Determined not to be left out, he follows quickly. Meanwhile, Diana stops at a gas station for a quick break. At a gas station, Diana sees a government warning on TV about a big danger coming soon. Everyone is told to find a safe place underground. She calls John and tells him where they are. John thinks that Lucinda's old house, which the coordinates point to, might be safe. But Diana, scared and not wanting to go there, hangs up. Sadly, while they're still talking, strangers take her car, with the kids inside. Trying to follow them, Diana grabs another car but ends up crashing into a truck. She gets badly hurt and dies right in front of John, at midnight, just as her mother's prediction said she would. John, heartbroken, but determined to keep his son safe, goes to Lucinda's old empty house. Following car tracks into the bushes, he finds many black stones on the ground. Suddenly, he faces one of the strange men. As he's about to defend himself, Caleb stops him, sharing a big surprise. The strangers have been trying to protect them. They were the ones giving warnings about the disaster. As part of a plan to save people, the strangers then show an ark floating in the sky. John is amazed by the sight. When it's time to leave, the strangers say only the children can go with them. Only the chosen ones must survive. Caleb says a tearful goodbye to his father. The strangers turn into beings of light, and the ark goes up into the sky. John watches as similar arks, now seen all around the world, leave. The next morning, John wakes up alone on the ground. John makes his way through the busy city to his family's house. When he gets there, his sister gives him a big hug. Caleb is safe, he tells her, his voice full of relief. Inside, he hugs his dad, then his mom, and soon they are all hugging tightly, a special moment of being together as a family. But outside, things are changing. A huge solar flare starts to destroy everything it touches, and it reaches John and his family while they are hugging. As the story ends, we see the ark safely leaving the children at different places before it goes away. Caleb and Abby, now on their own, run towards a big tree in a field, showing a fresh start. Now, let's talk about the ending. The strange whispers that helped Lucinda and Caleb came from an advanced alien race. These aliens picked specific kids and animals from Earth to save from a big disaster coming to the planet. With other arks seen leaving Earth, it seems that similar whispers were given to certain people all over the world. So, why only the kids? The idea is that kids, with their different knowledge and abilities, are like new starts. They are less likely to make the same mistakes as adults who might create the same old problems. The movie suggests that these kids, with help from the aliens, might learn new ways to live better together. It's also possible that the aliens keep watching over the kids from a distance, ready to help and teach them how to do well on this new planet. That's the summary of this exciting story. Don't forget to subscribe for more like this. Click the notification bell and like this video to support the channel. Thanks for watching.